here in Derby Line, and behind me is the Haskell Free Library and Opera House. And we are right on the border between the United States and Canada. And today, we're meeting up with Hannah Miller.
And I am on a quest to read and write and knit in all of Vermont's public libraries, or as many as I can on my sabbatical, and today is 22.
Bienvenue à la bibliothèque Haskell, la seule bibliothèque au monde qui est située dans deux pays, Canada, États-Unis. Welcome to the Haskell Library, the only library in the world that is situated in both countries, in two countries.
I'm knitting in two countries. Hello.
Bonjour. We do that every day, all day long, switching from French to English. On this side, I can speak English, and I don't know what is the mechanism exactly, but in my head, when I cross the line, je me mets à parler en français.
Look at this line. It goes on the craft table right through, so you could come in here and craft in the United States and Canada at the same time. This is my 22nd library, wow. So I only have like 185 to go or something like that. So what can you tell me about this library?
Well, we were built in 1904, and we've been in continuous operation since then, so in 120 years. And we're the only public building that serves both Canada and the USA. So people that come in from both sides, you have patrons that come from both sides. And just this morning, I had my story hour in craft, and we had kids that come from Canada and from the States. Our patrons love having a library here. Well, out here in a tiny little town, we're kind of the happening place. But I would say most of the library is actually over on the Canadian side. It's really the door. That's the big thing. Yeah. The entrance is in the States, and that's like the big...
But you live on the Canadian side?
Mm-hmm, yeah, I live just right down the road. I come here, I cross the border, and then I come in. For Canadians, if we come in from the Canadian side, we can't keep going. It's into the library and back to Canada, and that's it. If you're an American, you can't go out that way to Canada. Because now I know people from both sides, and I do my groceries down in Vermont, and most people here in Stanstead, we all do our groceries down there just because it's closer. I'm a Canadian, but I know most of the people because they're either from Stanstead or I know them from work.
Librarians are so nice. They make me feel so welcome. I love them so much. Now, we've lived all over the place and always wanted to move to Vermont because it's just a great place to live. Also, because I'm a knitter, there's great sheep and wool culture here.
So my birthday is actually on Tuesday, so Hannah was like, happy birthday, because I happened to get finished, right, you know.
All of the colors in the yoke were a pain to knit, but it makes for a very warm sweater. So it's 13 degrees today, and Lisa didn't even wear a coat. Vermont is full of knitters. Like, look, you can just find people in hand knit sweaters all over the place.
All right, I'm gonna knit too. And I'm completely in Canada at the moment.
I've read on the Vermont Libraries Association, it is the most libraries per capita of any other state in the United States. And I'm trying to knit in every town in Vermont as part of the 251 Club, but not every town has a public library. Some towns, like Danville, I was just in this week, has 3 public libraries.
When I go into libraries, everyone there is so happy to be there. I will just stumble upon some tiny one-room library in the middle of a tiny town that I haven't heard of, that I just happen to be driving by. And I go in, and there is always something interesting happening, or interesting people, and interesting stories being told, and an interesting history of the library. They're amazing.
I love documenting documentaries. It's just fun. It's like so meta.
Oh, I am an education professor at Vermont State University, Johnson, which used to be Northern Vermont University, and before that it was Johnson State College. Last year, our library at Johnson almost closed, and that was just really heartbreaking for us in the community. And fortunately, it stayed open, and that was great. But while that was happening, the librarians in Vermont rose up, and I thought, I would really love to spend some time in public libraries. This is a hat called Cable and Chill by a designer called Disturbing the Fleece. This thing that I'm knitting is part of a Black History Month knit along. Because it's February, I'm trying to ask about Black History Month books while I'm in the library. Like, I'm excited to read this one about Stacey Abrams. That's so cute.
Okay,
my feet are in Canada. Okay, there we go.
My feet are in Canada. My head is in the United States.
You ready?
Yes.
Oh, they're all reading.
Yeah. It's like, hey, Hannah, I know what you can do that won't cost any money. She would be very lonely if she were just in the house by herself all day doing writing. Every day I go home, she's like, it was the best day of my life. Every day. She is prone to a little bit of exaggeration, but nonetheless, she's having a marvelous time, which makes my life better, of course.
Libraries are very peaceful, hopeful places. Like with all the book banning going on and people trying to stop knowledge and truth from being shared, librarians are they're on the front lines.
So here's my Vermont library passport.
You come into these libraries and people are there building community.
Okay, it works.
Hey, look, Haskell Free Library.
The library is the first floor, and then up it's just all upper house. Well, construction started in 1901, and the building was finished in 1904, so that's when the opera house opened. But the library actually opened in 1905.
Is this the border line? Is this the line?
border. It goes through everywhere.
Oh, so this chair you can sit in and watch a movie in Canada and the United States.
Yeah.
Have both live performances and movies here.
They do. Well, the live performances, that's in the summer. But the movies, that's a new thing. We started doing that in October.
I got my sticky note all ready. Lisa, do you want to be in this one with me? 1, 2, 3.
So you can follow Hannah's adventures on Instagram, and we will get stuck in Vermont with you again real soon. I love libraries, and I love knitting.
Have you been to Johnson Elementary School, where I went to elementary school?
Really?
We used to go to Johnson State College all the time. I actually DJ'd at the radio station up there. I would play like Cindy Lauper records.
Yeah.
My name is Ava, and now I'm gonna cross the line. Je m'appelle Ava.